Our next speaker is Dr. Gary Berman. He's a medical mystic. Medical mysticism is the union of mind, body, and spirit with the universal energy and a method of communicating with this energy to help you heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Dr. Berman, who's a medical mystic and holistic doctor with advanced and professional degrees in, are you ready, physics, engineering, and chiropractic. He's incorporated 24 years of studies in science, nutrition, and metaphysics into transformational new systems and techniques. Today he's going to be speaking on creating the wow now. Help me welcome Dr. Gary Berman.
Sheryl, thank you. Thank you. Well, as she said, I'm Dr. Gary Berman, and together with my wife Maggie, that's that pretty lady back there, we have a holistic chiropractic naturopathic center that's about 10 minutes from here that we call the Healing Zone. Now, by professional degree and licensing, I'm a doctor of physics, I'm a doctor of chiropractic, I've studied natural remedies, and that's a little bit old, for now over 28 years. Okay? Without doubt, though, my best abilities are simple. I'm a mystic, and I practice, I've developed, I've created a technique that I call medical mysticism. Now, I want to talk to you today, both as a health practitioner and also as a scientist. And I want to talk to you in a way that perhaps no one else has ever discussed with you, ideas and concepts that maybe no one ever took the time to explain. I've got 3 goals for this talk. They're real simple. Number 1, I'm going to explain to you what I mean by the words mysticism and medical mysticism. Number 2, I want to explain what I believe are the causes for every failure that we have in this world. And more importantly, number 3, I want to explain a simple model that I believe is the answer to all of our problems, and I don't care what the issues are. Now, this has taken me a long time to figure out, so I only have a few minutes to give you a lot of information, okay? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the spine. Now, there are 2 models of the spine. I'm going to introduce the old model. This is the antiquated model, the spine in a vertical plane. This model is the model that's used by every chiropractor, every DO, every MD. It was developed in the 1850s. It tells you basically that this is a support structure. Okay? It holds my body up. It holds up my blood vessels, my nerves. It engages in a few biochemical reactions. It was an important model. But you would have to have your head buried in the sand not to have heard about how quantum mechanics is coming into your life every day. Okay? As a scientist 15 years ago, I began thinking about this model a little differently. If I turn this model to the side, like this. Now, this is a pretty young audience. Do people remember when we used to have TV and radio antennas on our roofs in our homes? Remember those old TV radio antennas? If you put arms and legs to this, doesn't it appear as though it begins to look like an antenna? We are antennas. Now, this is very, very important, because this model that I'm going to discuss with you is the model that medicine will be using for the next probably 300 years. Okay? And what it does is this. In this model, we begin to communicate with each other. We now have energies that go out and communicate. Every antenna, by the second law of antenna theory, can transmit and receive information. Do you realize what I'm saying? Every thought you have right now is projected out around the universe and back again faster than the speed of light. Do you realize how powerful that could be? In principle, I could take you, sir, and I could give a name to someone that you've never met on the other side of the world. If you could pick up their frequencies, you could begin telling me things about them that only they would know. And conversely, I could give someone on the other side of the world just your picture, and they never met you before, and they could pick up your frequencies and begin telling me things that only you would know. Now, that was very startling to me when I began thinking of this 15 years ago. That by itself got me interested. But suppose this model also allowed you to do something far beyond that. Suppose this model allowed everyone in this room to communicate with an energy that was never wrong. This energy we all have. This energy will give you answers to any question you ask. And I don't care what the subject is. I don't care what your belief systems are. I don't care. It will give you exactly accurate answers on any subject for any issues that you have. And we all have it. And we can all do it. Now, let's go back to this as an antenna. Every antenna system needs to be powered by something, right? A TV antenna is powered by a TV station. A radio antenna is powered by a radio station, right? Well, this is an antenna, and it's powered by, as far as I can tell, two primary sources. Now, I want to be clear with this. Here is source number one that powers that antenna. It's right here, right there. Now, if you take your index finger and put it right between the eyebrows, please, everyone, would you do that? This is source number one, okay? This source is always going to get you into trouble. That's your brain, okay? That's your brain, okay? That's our ego. That's our fear and our self-judgment. We all have it. No one in this room, I don't care how advanced you are, no one in this room is free of the fear and the self-judgment. On any issue, any particular time of the day, we're all susceptible to it. I have fear. I've learned it through my father, who learned it through his family, who learned it through their family. Hey, I'm not causing or casting fingers at anyone. I'm just simply saying that's what I have a tendency for. Other people in here will have self-judgment. Self-judgment is a more extreme form of fear. Okay? We all have it. And I guarantee you, if we're smart, if we just recognize that and accept it, we can begin to make much better choices. If this rules the bus, forget about getting the results that you want. Okay? So this is always a no up in here. This is always a no. This is always working against you. No matter how hard you try, it's always working against you. Now, I told you I want to talk about success too. So if we can leave the no's and we can leave our failures up here, the further we go down, 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 and I want to be clear on this, if you'll take your index finger again and put it in your navel. Okay, please, put it in your navel. If you'll take your free hand, make a fist with your free hand and put it under this finger. Put it under that finger. Where that fist is where I believe the spirit lies. That's our yes. This is our love and desire. This spot that you're pointing to right now, down here under the navel, will never lie to you. It will never lie to you. We all have it. It will give you answers to any questions you want. Now you can say to me, well, Dr. Berman, that sounds great. Maybe you can do that. But now you're talking about things that maybe I never thought about before. Or maybe I tried these things before and they never worked for me. Or maybe I never even believed these things before. What about me? Well, let's do a little experiment here. Let's just do a little experiment. I said that starting up in here is always a no. And as we move further down, we get into the concepts of love and desire. Is that correct? Right? From what I said, right? All right, now, let's do a little experiment for about 10, 15 seconds, about 10 seconds. I'm going to ask you, everyone in this room, to think of some place, something, someone, I don't care, that you truly love. I don't care what it is. I want you to love whatever it is you're thinking about. And I want you to put it in your mind, and I want you to feel the sensation and where that sensation lies in your body. Okay, feel it. It should be down closer to this area where the navel is. Sweetheart, would you mind timing this for about 10 seconds? You ready? Okay, for 10 seconds, please do that. Feel that sensation. Okay, all right. Now, with a show of hands, how many people could feel that sensation somewhere down in here? How many people? Show of hands, please. Now, look around you. Look around. No, raise your hands. Look around you, please. Look at the people that could begin feeling this. Look around you. Okay? This is important. Thank you. You can drop your hands. If only one person would raise their hand, that would prove to us that we could all do this. We had many more than one person. Now, think about this. Think. Suppose you could take that same feeling and that same sensation, and you had a question that was important about maybe which car to buy. What stock should I invest in? What products do I need to save my life? What doctor should I use? Suppose that was designed to answer any question somewhat like you just felt. Would you be amazed? Yeah, I was. What do you think keeps me going for 15 years doing this research? Inside of every one of you is this ability. It's just waiting for you to communicate with it. It's a learned process. It's like tying your shoes, learning to ride a bicycle. There are skills that you need to develop. With the right type of consciousness, with the right type of ideas, everyone in this room can do it to some extent. Okay? That's where I'm going with this whole thing. Sound interesting? Okay? I thought about this long and hard. If we're all born to succeed, and we all have this system, and we were meant to be successful. Why is it that every doctor has patients? And I don't care who the doctor is, I don't care what their specialty is, I don't care what they claim. Every doctor in this world has patients that no matter how hard that patient works, they can never get well. No matter how hard the doctor works, no matter how hard the patient works, they can never get well. Okay, that bothered me. That really bothered me. Okay? Because it's not just about your health. It's about everything in your life that's important to you. Your emotional state, your financial state, it's everything. And some of you really work hard, and you're not feeling like as though you're getting anywhere. Why? That really bothered me. The failures always taught me more than my successes, because I'm willing to look at everything honestly. I developed a model that I believe explains how we succeed and how we fail. It's never failed me since I've been using this model. I developed it about a year ago. I'm writing a book on it right now. This is the model right here, and I want to show this to you because I believe it's very important. I talked about the idea of a spirit living right here, correct? That by itself is a definition of mysticism, a spirit living right here, okay? That's the definition of mysticism. I call it medical mysticism because I've been trained as a doctor. And as a doctor, I'm concerned about every part of your life, whether it's the emotional, structural, the biochemical, or the spiritual parts of you. So every illness known to man has come through our doors, and every issue known to man has come through our doors. Whether it's talking about your pets, whether it's talking about which home should I buy, about divorce, about where to live with my life, it all comes through this concept of mysticism. I want you to understand that. This model was based on that concept, as well as being a physicist, okay? It goes like this, and I'll do the best I can to kind of hold this and tell you about it. Oh, thank you. See, I get all the nice people. Thank you very much. Well, you can put it down a little bit. I want them to see you. You're a nice guy. He's single, too. I'll work for you, John. All right, thank you. Okay. Now look at this. Look at this. We always begin with the interpretation of the event. Something happens to us. We order pancakes in the morning. We speak to our wife. We decided we're going to have a great day. We interpret how things happen to us, good or bad. Good is love and desire, of course. Bad is fear and self-judgment. That's the only way we interpret everything. It's either out of fear and self-judgment or love and desire. That's it. That's it. And we're doing it every moment on every issue. Now, if we're in fear and self-judgment, I got to give you bad news. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how hard you try. I don't care how many adjustments you get. I don't care how many green stamps you find. It's never going to help you get what you're looking for. You'll either never get well, you'll either never be happy, and you will never be satisfied, even if it turns out the way you had hoped. Okay? You've got to make the shift from fear and self-judgment over to love and desire. Now, if we had more time, I could explain techniques I developed to do this. I can tell you, though, there are techniques that help people do this. Okay? So, that's the first way we fail, is fear and self-judgment. That's the first way. Go to the top here, and we look at results. Okay? These are the things we truly want. Or do we? How many people here spend time actually writing down in their book every day about the things they truly want? Are there any people here that do this? Good, I see one in the back. Is there anyone else? Good, thank you. Do you realize we spend more time probably making up grocery lists than we do deciding what we really want in our lives? Okay? Because we're not clear with what we want, that's the second area of failure for every person. We have to decide why we were born. And guess what? This area right here, under the navel, even has information about why you're here. It will tell you why you're born. Okay? You've got to be clear with both of these things. When you come in as a patient, I ask you both of these issues, here as well as there. They have got to match here. They have got to match here. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. No one, not even God, can help you if that isn't working. Okay? Now, once that is working, once you're in the love and desire phase, then we start working our way up through this simple model. First is biology. We look at your diet, your exercise, the water you're drinking, the sleeping patterns, the supplements you're taking. Now, if people think it's just chemistry, I'm sorry to tell you, that's the old model. That's the model that's not working right now. It's energy. Whatever supplement you use, whatever liquid you drink, whatever person you're working with, whatever you're doing in your life, there has to be an energetic match. Otherwise, you're wasting your time there too. Okay? Do you understand what I mean? That energetic match is from here. It's from here, okay? It's not chemistry that we're talking about. This energy drives chemistry. This energy controls chemistry. If anyone tells you differently, sorry, it doesn't work that way. This is most important. It's very important that whomever you go to, they talk to you about energies, they understand energies, and they can show you how it matches down here. Everything needs to work in that area. Now, once that works in here and that strengthens your physical body, then immediately it starts working on the emotions. Now, I hope no one in this room believes that their emotions are locked in right here. They're not. The emotions are every part of our body. It doesn't matter whether it's our liver gallbladder, which is anger and frustration. It doesn't matter whether it's our lungs, which are grief. It doesn't matter what organs we're talking about. For over 5,000 years, we've known that every organ of our body has its own set of emotions. The problem was we'd never known until recently how to really access all of this. This technique will do this. We work on strong biology. This will naturally work on strong emotions. Okay? Now, when those two areas are synchronized and the energies are flowing through the body, then immediately we set up strong fields. Now, this is a term from physics. Fields are actions at a distance. They're energies that interact with anything in this world. They are your servants. Call it your mind. Call it your consciousness. I don't care what you call it. It's the energy that surrounds you. This is what comes out of your body. This is what comes out of your body, other than that sound, okay, that goes out around the world to work for you. It bows to you and asks you to direct it to wherever it wants to go. Do you realize what I'm saying? That this can take us only so far, these knees, and these legs can take us so far. This can take us into any dimensions that we know of. Do you see how powerful you are? And we all do it. Now, the good news is that whatever's happening to you is coming about through the interactions of the fields. If you don't like what's happening to you right now, then we got to look carefully at these lower layers, and we got to look at the fear and the self-judgment, because whatever is happening to you, whether you like it or not, is coming about from those fields interacting with your environment. They literally grab whatever you're thinking about and they pull it right to your face, good or bad. Good or bad. The last thing is spirit. When you combine these lower levels and you combine it with spirit, your belief in whatever you call God, that's up to you. I don't care what you call it. Then you send out incredible energies to do your bidding to create instantaneous results like this. Now remember I said those results can be good and they can be bad. You're getting exactly what you're thinking. As adults, we are responsible for everything that happens to us as adults. Okay? I'm simply saying, why not stack the cards in your favor? Why not do it the right way? Why not do it in a way that will give you greater than 90% certainty every time of the success you're looking for? Now, once that occurs, once the results occur, whether they're positive results or negative results, they feed back to us, and we get a chance to do it again. We get a chance to interpret it again. Did you ever hear the statement that positive results tend to create more positive results? Did you ever hear that? Okay, well this verifies that. Positive results lead to potentially more positive results. And correspondingly, negative results tend to do what? Feedback negative results, right. Here's the good part though. I have a lot of patients that self-sabotage themselves. They'll get positive results coming into their life, and because they're riddled with fear and self-judgment, they will negate all that positive quality and try to self-sabotage. And it can go the other way too. For every person, for every circumstance, every situation, you have to examine yourself carefully. None of us are immune from this. Do you see where I'm going with this? I believe if people will follow this model, if they'll begin to understand this model, it will change their lives forever. It changed mine, and it's changed a lot of other people's lives. Now, I'm going to read something. John, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to end it with this card. I found this card this morning. It'll say things much better than I can say it. It's called I Believe. It goes like this. I believe that we are magic, that all things are possible, that life is precious, that peace is reasonable, that laughter is special, that blessings are divine, that love is grand. And ladies, I'll ask you to cover your ears now. This is only for my wife back here. And that you are the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you. Okay. So, I want to thank you all. I can't thank you enough for your time, for your understanding. I don't know if we have any more time. About 8 minutes? Okay. Are there any questions from anyone? Please.
Is the area of yes what would be called like the root or base chakra? Is that the
Okay. I believe that the chakra system served a purpose at one time. It's an important system. I believe, though, that it has to be modified. And this represents a modification of that. If we had more time, I could explain that a little bit better. This is a modification of the chakra system.
Would it be simple, suffice to say, it's just a evolution?
It's an evolution. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Please. Please.
The experience here and the answers, that reminds me of muscle testing. Is there any similarity between them?
Excellent question. Muscle testing, I cut my teeth on muscle testing and the pendulum and all these other ideas. Now, I want you to think about something for just a moment here. You've got your arm out, or someone is doing something like breaking your fingers or doing something, some form of muscle testing, okay? The moment they start doing that, and I don't care how accurate they are, what are they doing? The moment they start doing something like that with the muscles, they're going into here. They're going into here. What did we just say this was? No. This is fear and self-judgment. Now, some of you can bypass this and perhaps get fairly accurate results with muscle testing. Some of you can. If there's the smallest doubt in any of your mind about either the technique or the person or something like this, guess what happens here? We get no. The answers you get are speculative at best when you do this. The only right way to do muscle testing is for the person who's being muscle tested to hold their hand under their navel and in their conscious mind see themselves being tested, not here, but down here, and see themselves as someone's pushing on their arms, they're pushing from here, from this lower area. That's the only correct way to do muscle testing. I never do muscle testing. What I do is I talk to your spirit. Do you know what I mean by that? Okay, here's what I do. I've created a program. I created a program that's based on a series of numbers, and the numbers will deal with the spiritual issues, the biochemical issues, the structural issues, the emotional issues. It's taken me years to put all this together. I don't want to know what your problems are before I see you. I don't want to know anything about you except for your name. Every night before I see you the next day, I just ask your spirit comes to me, and it will tell me exactly what the problems are with you. Exactly. So when you come into the office, I have generally a full page full of all the information of everything your spirit told me about you. It covers every issue you can imagine. I'm trained as a biochemist. I've done a lot of research in many areas. I'm a little different than some people, I might say. But so are you. My patients are a lot different than most people, too. Okay? So I may sound like I'm a little far out, and maybe we are. But you can put science to this because the spirit came from science. This is only advanced physics that I'm talking about, okay? So when I see you that next day, I can tell you everything that's going on, okay? Does that help? Thank you. Anyone else? About 5 more minutes. Anyone else? Please.
How many visits does it take to get progress?
Well, that's an excellent question, too. That depends on every person for a simple reason. How quickly can you leave fear and self-judgment and come over to love and desire? Probably by the time people come into my office, they've been through fear and self-judgment in their mind over 10,000 or multiples of 10,000 times. Well over 100,000 times. This is called negative pattern habits. Okay? We all have this. We believe these things are correct. Do you realize that there are only 2 fears that we were born with? Do you realize that? Only 2 fears. Do you know what they are? A fear of falling, and a fear of loud noises. And yet, my fears are different than the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises, and yours are probably different than that too. So I learned my own set of habits, you learned yours. How long does it take to break a habit? Some of you can do it super fast. I've had people that were dying that could break their habits super fast. And yet I've had healthy people that felt like they had a lot of time, and even after years they couldn't break their habits. Okay? It's up to you. And I can't interfere with the process. I'm a coach. I'm just a coach. I'm not a healer. I'm not God. That's you. You are the most powerful person in the world. You are. You make all the choices, not me. The best I can do is tell you what your spirit is telling me to tell you and feed it back to you because you're an intelligent person. And you'll change according to how desperately you want to change your life. That's the answer I can give you, okay? Please.
I'd just like to say I have been to visit him and I used one of his techniques. I heard him say today,
You have to be careful of people around you, negative people around you. And my boss was very negative and of course lashed out at me a lot of times. And I didn't want to be around him. And in 3 weeks' time, maybe 4 at the most, he's changed from the worst boss to the nicest, loving, kindest boss. And he had to make a choice last week whether he wants to keep me as admin assistant or pick someone else. And he looked me in the face and he said, I want you to go with me. So it was.
Yeah, thank you. I want you to know, though, that Pamela is an exceptional person. I want to end with just one more story here. Just one more story. The reason why I got into this is because it changed my life. And if it didn't change my life, then it meant nothing. Last October, my sister called me. She lives in New Jersey. I have just one sister. And she said to me, Gary, I have a serious health issue. I've been diagnosed with cancer, skin cancer. It's very virulent. I'm probably going to lose my eye. Is there anything you can do to help me? Now, my sister's a very bright woman, and she lives back in New Jersey where they believe in the medical model more than they do this type of thing. It takes a lot of courage to believe in the things that you and I are discussing right now. She was desperate because she was going to have her face disfigured from the operation and probably lose her eye at the same time. So she would have done anything to save herself because her surgeon did me the best favor. Her surgeon scared her so badly out of the fear and self-judgment, it got her into the love and desire. So I told her, I said, I'm not sure. I'd have to scan you and tell you what I can do because I had 2 weeks to do something to help her, okay? So I did a scan, called her back and said, we can do it because I figured we'd have 9 days by the time the box got to her and she started working on all these supplements. Now here's a person who didn't understand any of this or believe any of this, okay? She gets the box, she gets all the potions I mixed together, everything I gave her, all the instructions. She and her husband worked like champions night and day for 9 days. Okay? 6 days into the process, the sciatica that she had for over 17 years is gone. It's gone. She's been to chiropractors, she's been to massage therapists, she's been to medical doctors, it's gone. Okay? The day before the operation, she asked me, she said, what do you see? I said, Sandy, I see over 90% of the cancer gone. I see that the operation would take more than 6 hours, would be done in less than 2, and you'll have no trouble in saving your eye. She slept well for the first time in 4 weeks, simply because I was confident in what she was telling me, her spirit was telling me, not what I was telling her. She had the operation. She calls me back that day. She said, Gary, the operation took less than 1 hour. There was no question or problem about saving her eye. And all the cancer was gone. And the surgeon who did the surgery was also the one who did the biopsy 4 weeks before. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. Now, you can call it a miracle. I hope you do. Or you can just say that she got out of her fear and self-judgment, and because everything was energetically matched, and she knew exactly what she wanted in the results, that guess what? She got what she wanted. Now, if I couldn't help my sister, I would have some real problems. Look, I can't thank you enough. I've got to end right now.